it is all just life doing this, and life expresses as an I, as an experience of I. And in this sort of strange way, if we're just making stories out of stuff that really we're just trying to understand it as human beings. So we like to make stories and we like to, quantify things. But if we're just playing in that field, life is moving and intelligently evolving and learning. Human being learns. There's an intelligence that learns through a lifetime. Um, it's I was thinking about a baby. I saw some movie and it was this baby sort of looking and learning how to interact, and it's life learning how to be a human being. It's funny, life, which is completely open and spontaneous and just flowing, learns how to contract into an experience of a human perspective. Once again, it's the opposite's happening. It's just opposite the way we would ever think of it. But life learns to be a human being. And in that, it almost uses the identification as I as a tool, firstly, to have experiences, which are wonderful and rich and amazing. But that I, as you were just saying, can be the pathway or the tool for life to use to explore through that experience. So the I can actually be used as a focal point to explore more of the experience of being a separate I, a human being. Then there's the experience of being I, separate self, human being, that's not a soul entity. It's just part of life doing that as well. So the wholeness is there, and the experience of I, which has used itself as a tool to explore itself, to open back up into the fullness and then encompass the whole, including the experience of being a human being. But there's also the oneness, the wholeness that this is just the same energy everywhere, same oneness, consciousness, awareness, whatever. Just every particle, every cell, every bit of dense matter, everything that's come out of potentiality into some form that we are interacting with, every thought energy, every little lightning bolt of energy in the mind and the brain causing thought, all the same thing. All the same thing. Beautiful and unlimited and unknowable. It's just everything happening is the same isness, expressing that way as a block of stone, a hand, a body, breath, air, nature, animals, movement, noise, waves, whatever, or a thought, an energetic thought. It's the same thing, just doing something slightly differently. The idea of an I is almost, it's just quite a humorous play in the whole story, because it's just another thought process as an I, and everything that follows on that just is another thought process coming from that thought process. So all of it's just this flux, this beautiful energetic play of life. I call it life. It's awareness, consciousness, energy, intelligent design, God, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. That's the whole thing. Everything that's happening is just open, is just a slightly different energetic turmoil, turbulence happening that way. The human mind just can't quite let go of the idea that it has to be an object. There has to be a separate object that I can actually relate to somehow as this separate I that's not there. Huh? It kind of confused. It can't help but confuse itself, because it's innate. We're a human being. It's how it's the instinct. This is separate. This body isn't that body. So this body needs to survive, and then it has all these thoughts that are propagating from an intelligent human being expression, and they're part of that. So I'm separate. I'm the separate body. No, I'm not. I can't think about it. It all just gets sort of too difficult for the mind to comprehend. So it just goes into this generalization, this assumption. I am here. I am this body, and I'm separate, and therefore now I'll just go about navigating this world this way. It's not looked at. That's all we're looking at. Just looking at, yeah, but it's not actually. It's just life playing. It's just life playing. with all its stories, and it is what it is. Everything is just what it is. There's just a relaxation in that. But we're talking in these groups, and all of this stuff's still happening. All the remnants of experience still play. It's almost like recalling a dream. Human beings have these brains. They love exploring stuff. That's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with even the stuff that's supposedly wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a judgment of the human self, the separate self, saying, I don't want it to be that way. It shouldn't be like that. Everything is just happening. And it doesn't mean I'll just to be anarchistic and I do what I want. If it seems to be that life, when it becomes more harmonized with itself, just doesn't have those impulses to express contracted, tumultuous, painful, suffering energy, because it's not there. So as life allows itself to just be as it is, it's just those other things that have been happening in the experience of suffering in human beings don't perpetuate. So it's not like anarchy happens and people go and hurt each other. It's the opposite. Just life harmonizes, and then there's just a sharing. And that just seems to be loving and peaceful. And stuff can still happen, of course, depending on the individual human being's experience and what hasn't really been let go of. And there can always be those ripples from the life experience that can come and play again. And some people's ripples will be a lot stronger than others. The more the habit patterns of contraction don't play, because all the habits that come up get expressed, and I think in a lifetime they still do that to some extent. But the more that they're not reinforced by the separation and the idea of separation, they just play, and there's no extra energy that's put into them, resisting them, contracting, identifying as them, whatever. They play, they just drop, and they play and they drop. It's like watching a movie twice or three times. It becomes less and less interesting.